The quote by George Harrison hit my mind, that it is all in the mind. It is all in the mind. But then I asked myself, really? Is it all in the mind? Then it came to my revelation that it is all about my perspective and your perspective. I will now call each one of you to shout out loud and say, your perspective matters. Let's do it again. Your perspective matters.
Your perspective matters.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you were born, you were a blank book. And each one of us who is born to this world, they do not come with a manual. What happens? We start building our perspectives, following what our parents are doing, our society, our environment, and the larger community. The things we expose ourselves to, it could be the videos we watch, the music we listen to, that is what shapes our perspective. But have you ever sat down and asked yourself, is this really my perspective? Or I'm just doing it for the sake of doing it, or for the sake of the society? The moment we ask that question, sit down and have our conversation with ourselves, then we can be able to adapt to the business community in Africa. Why is perspective very important? The foundation of your attitude, the foundation of your actions or lack of them is your perspective. I will give you an example. Growing up, the first question that I hear people say for them to start a business that they need, they will tell you capital is what I need for me to start a business. This morning, I want to tell you the two things that you need for you to start a business. Number one, it's not capital. The first two things you need is an idea that can be paid for. And the second thing you need is a client who can pay for that idea. Have I mentioned capital? No. But growing up, the perspective is, I need capital for me to start a business. And that is why we have a huge number of unemployment in Africa, as well as Kenya. Why? Because of the perspective that we have. And that perspective is the foundation of our attitude, and it's the foundation of our actions or lack of them. Stephen Covey says that between the stimulus and the response lies a space. And that space is our choice to choose how to respond. And this morning I want to tell you that between business and the success of it or the lack of success lies our perspective. And perspective, I want to tell you this morning, is a choice. Attitude is a choice. If I pinch you right now, you have a choice before you react to what you do to me. And that is where the power is. We want to take Africa to the next level, we have to evaluate our perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, destination is important, but the journey is very important. One of the reasons why we don't stop and recheck our perspective is because of our focus to reach the destination, and thereby the end justifies the means. Between the destination and the journey, what do you value? I value the journey. Because it's not what I achieve at the end of the day, but it is who I become in that process? Who do I become in the process? I'll take you back to the business question that I answered, that what are the 2 things you need for you to start a successful business? An idea that can be paid for and a client who can pay for it. As you heard in my introduction, I did suffer an identity crisis, and I attribute that suffering to the society, to the community, to the parenting that I had. It is true, like Malcolm Gladwell says, no man is self-made. We owe something to our patronage. And that patronage did put me in a space where I suffered an identity crisis. So one day I said, I have done a degree in procurement and contract management, but I don't feel like it. I felt like I needed to start a business. I went to one of my mentors and I asked him, I am struggling to come up with a business plan for my idea. What do I do? He asked me a question. Vincent, what do you want to succeed? Is it your business or your business plan? What could be your answer? My answer was, I need my business to succeed. And the moment I shifted the focus, that is the day my first business was born, registered under the government of Kenya. And what did I do? I had a paying idea. And I went to someone who can pay for it. And I remember the gentleman, we used to go to church together, and I told him, I need 300 shillings. Number 1, it is non-refundable. Number 2, once I produce whatever I am producing, you will be the first client. And this is what I'll do. I'll bring you a 5 liter of whatever I'm going to produce, and you'll pay 500 shillings for it. We agreed. It was a verbal deal. And I did exactly that. Do you know what I did? I just made liquid soap. And there, I had started a cleaning business. Perspective. Can you imagine? Just the other day, I listened to a friend of mine. And my friend tells me, you know, there is this friend of ours that our friendship has just come to an end. I asked the person, why? So this friend of ours wants to start a business. Which type of business? Baking business. So why did your friendship have to come to an end? It's because she wants us to give her money. But then, we don't see the value of us giving her money because she wants to go and just open a shop. So what is your opinion in it? My friend tells me, I feel she can begin from home. Use whatever she has, the resources that she has. And then the business will grow one step at a time. But now, her approach is that she needs huge capital. And I cannot risk my cash because of friendship. Perspective. Look at this young lady in Mombasa called Amina of Minat Bakery. 22 years old. Look at the perspective she took to approach her business and where she has reached today. I mean, life could be simple, but because of our emotions, because of our complexity as human beings, we lose the focus, and thereby we lose the success. What is your perspective? It could be, what is your perspective in relationships? What is your perspective in business? What is your perspective in education? My perspective in education growing up was I have to pass because I've been told I need to work hard and I need to go to university. I need to become a doctor. I grew up in the village. That was the song. And remember, long time ago, going to the university, my goodness, it was such a prestigious privilege. In a village, you could get it's only one person who was going to university. Not like right now, everybody is going to the university. It was a serious reward. Now, because of the pressure, the perspective of going to education, going to school is to succeed so that you can be a doctor or an engineer, then the end has to justify the means. And that is why I cheated in my exams, Form 4 exams, and I got a Y. I had to repeat. Let me tell you this. Stephen Covey says, anything less than a conscious commitment to what is important is an unconscious commitment to what is important. If you do not take intentionally and watch out on your perspective, pandemics in life will sharpen your perspective. And it's rough. I'll tell you this. A pandemic like Corona can send you packing. Why? Because you did not prepare. You didn't check your perspective. You didn't realize that your perspective matters. You didn't listen to your intuition. Thereby, you have to sit down like a sweet potato and wait for the pandemic to shift your perspective. And that is what happened. My failure in Form 4 to go and repeat one whole year shaped my perspective. But it is not that I didn't have opportunity to shape it, I had. But then I listened more to what was expected of me rather than what I expect of myself. When I went back to school, I used to hate mathematics. When I went to repeat, I started loving mathematics. I hated physics. I started loving it. Because now I started to understand how those concepts apply to my life. I started to see the joke and the success in a person who was sitting under a tree, an apple falls, one of the person is rushing to eat it, and one of the person is discovering a force of gravity. Two different people, same circumstance. What is your perspective? There, I finished my high school, scored B, came to university in Mombasa, and my life is where I am today. Actually, it is by changing the perspective of education in my life that I got to succeed from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. It is by changing the perspective of my life that I met a mentor in 2017 and Sav Skills was born. It is by changing my perspective that I am here speaking to you today. And I want to tell you, the only way, whether it is innovation, whether it is retail business, whether it's hotel business, whatever business you want to do, even if it's baking and selling maamri, if you change your perspective, you've changed the trajectory of your business. Because everything is in your mind. And if you don't do it intentionally, pandemics will always do it for you. And it's not a fair game. It pushes you to the limits. Two ways that you can change your perspective and challenge it every single day. Number one, ensure you grow yourself through personal development. We work in organizations or run organizations that has vision, mission, values, core values, and everybody is employed to live according to that. But then you forget that you are an organization as yourself. You need to sieve what is your vision, what is your mission, what are your values. You need to sieve what comes into you and what you release as well. The second part is mentorship. And there are two types of mentors which are very important. Number one, a coach. We have 5 types of mentors. 2 of them are very important. Number one is a coach. A coach challenges your perspective, asks you questions, leading you to the right path. And then we have another mentor called a teammate. This is the person, after you've been challenged, this is the person who walks with you, alongside you, not the person who goes ahead or behind you, alongside you to ensure that your perspective is taking action. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, your perspective is the foundation of your attitude, your actions, or lack of them. And as Stephen Covey said, anything less than a conscious commitment to what is important is an unconscious commitment to what is not important. Opportunities are everywhere. Your perspective matters. Thank you.